Just give me a thumbs up so I know that you can hear me. Amazing. It's so good to have you on a Friday morning. Thank you so much for joining. It's another beautiful Friday. We've joined the Fido web series again, and you know that we continue to bring you the best of everything that you need to know regarding your personal finances, your business, and so many other things. Here we like to learn, and we love it when we get to share with you. So welcome again to today's session. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to drop them in the chat box below. And then as we go on, we'll just continue reading and answering your questions. Okay, I'll also kindly ask that everybody keeps their microphones on mute so that we can hear the conversation that is going on and we do not disrupt the conversation as well. Please keep your microphones on mute. So as we have been communicating today, we are discussing how to stretch Cedi, the basics of budgeting, how to make sure that in this difficult Accra today, we are making sure we're getting the best value for our money. We're making sure that at the end of the month, we are not we always make sure that we have some savings there at the end of the day. And to lead us through this conversation, as usual, we have the best of the best people to tell us what to do, guide us in how to go about it, give us all the secrets that they do this. But before I introduce them, I want to get to know you. You know, I always love to get to know who is on the call with me today. So in the chat box, just drop your name, your number, what you do, and we'll be engaging you as the webinar goes on. Thank you. So I'll be looking forward to seeing your names and numbers and dropping in the chat. So we'll go right into it. Stretching your Cedi. We have two amazing speakers on our webinar today. And the very first that I have the honor of introducing is the founder and CEO of Spear Capital and Advisory. Now, this is the business you go to when you are starting your business and you need advice how to start, you need advice how to raise the funds. And we are blessed to have the CEO on in the name of Mr. William Duncan. Hi, William. Are you on the call?
Thank you for having me.
Hi, William. Thank you so much for joining. It's good to see you again. I hope you're doing well.
I'm well. I hope everybody on the call is well this Friday morning.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, William. So this is William, and our second amazing speaker today is Mimi Anane Apia, and she is one of the best to do this. She is currently working with Fidelity Securities as our head. Kindly keep your microphones on mute. Mimi, if you are on the call, kindly give us a wave, say hi to everyone. We're so blessed to have you on the call.
Hi everyone.
Hi Mimi, it's so good to have you on. Thank you so much for joining. So this is going to be a quick one, but we want to make sure that the time we spend on this call today is power-packed. All the things that we really need to know. So I'll go straight into it, no wasting time. I'd like to understand your situations a little bit more. So William, starting with you.
Were you asking a question?
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Eh?
A question. I thought my
How are
network
you
just went off a
guys?
bit.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, that's fine. No worries. Whilst we wait for William to come back on, we'll just we can start with Mimi. Mimi, if you're on the call, please give us a wave.
Okay, we can hear you.
Hello. If you can hear me, please just give us
Hello.
thumbs up. I think we have a
Hello.
few network issues.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
So here I'm here.
Okay, hi. Yes, we can hear you now. Thanks. So we'd just like to start with you. I was asking William earlier that we want to understand our behavior when it comes to money, right? So first of all, personally for you, what are some of the biggest things you spend your money on today?
Okay. So, to be honest, a huge part of my funds go towards investments, long term. But beyond that, I'll say food, and the kids take a chunk of the budgets. That's less.
Okay, so we have investments, which is really good to hear. Food, which takes all of my money, and also your children. That's very interesting to hear. Thank you for sharing that with us. I want to see if William is back on the call. Hi, William, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Is your internet fine now?
Yes. My internet is fine. Thank you. Yes. So what are my biggest spenders? I think for me, running a business really, a lot of my expenses go towards my, but on a very personal level, food, data. I spend quite a lot on data because for the life that I currently run, a lot of what I do is on the internet. So there's a lot of data costs in there. Food obviously, but then I also save quite a bit. So considering we're having a very savings conversation, so savings is a big part of what I do. But if I take savings away, my biggest cost element is really data. Internet is quite expensive in this country, so yeah, that would be my biggest expense. Internet and
It's very interesting to hear the difference between what takes your money and what takes Mimi's money. For me, if I would say it takes the most of the money, everybody who knows me knows I love food. But thank you so much for sharing that. And just to get a clearer picture of our financial health, now we know the things that spend our money, right? And it is good to assess things to know we are moving our money. So how can we understand our finances today? And when I say that, we need to know that this is how much I'm earning, this is how much I'm spending. What is the best way to go about that?
So for me, look, I always tell people the best way to understand your finances is to understand your lifestyle. Understand where in life you are and understand what is necessary and what is not necessary for where you are in life, right? So there are certain wants and needs that you would have to cut out if you are not, at a certain point in time. If you were a student, my expectation is that you wouldn't want to. If you
See, the network is not good though.
Hello,
Some challenges here.
dropped off again. So sorry about that,
I
guys.
think if you are not on,
Problem.
if,
Yes, if you could kindly keep your
hello,
microphone on mute, we would appreciate
hello,
that.
hello.
Okay, so whilst we wait for William to come back, we'll just
Yes,
continue.
yes, because that's what I wanted to say. If you are not, if you are not on,
Okay, thank you. So we'll just continue the conversation with Mimi. William was mentioning that to understand your financial status, you need to know what your lifestyle is. Our parents always used to tell us, cut your coat according to your size. And that's what William is trying to say here. Understand your lifestyle so you don't spend beyond your means. So I would just like Mimi to share with us what, in her opinion, is the best way to understand your financial status. So Mimi, if you're on, you can kindly share your 2 cents on this with us.
Okay. So to understand your financial situation now, I think there are two things you need to look at. Or let me put it in two groups. So you need to look at your assets and your liabilities currently. So your assets are basically anything you own. So do you have any investments? Maybe you have an investment with fund management company A, you have a savings with bank B, you have a pensions account somewhere, you have some money on your Momo. All those things are assets. They are monies you own. Beyond that, your house. Maybe you built a house, it's worth 100,000 CDs. You have a car. If you are selling it right now, how much is it? So you need to have an idea of all those things and the current value. Then you also look at your loans or your debt. How much are you owing? So you're looking at, maybe you've taken a loan from Fido that you capture as one of your debts. You have a loan with a bank as well. You've taken a loan from Auntie Maggie of your auntie to 20,000. You are yet to pay. So we are looking at your assets and your liabilities. Basically, we are looking at that to know if we have to sell everything we have to pay everything that you owe, what would you have left? Because that determines how healthy you are financially. If you have more than the assets you actually own, that becomes a challenge. Another part we need to look at is your income and expenses. We'll need to look at what is coming in and need to look at what is going out. Are you more than
Yeah, program.
10? Or are you saving more? So this will help you to know where you are. And like I said, if you know that, okay, I'm not living within my means, then the question is, what can we do? So number one, is there a possibility of increasing my income? Is there a possibility of reducing my? Do I have to sell some, illiquid assets? Put it in an investment to generate additional income. So having this picture helps you to ask yourself the right questions and know what to do. For example, there are people who say they have an uncompleted building somewhere. It's just sitting there. They are not doing anything with it. By the time you do this review, you'll be able to know that, okay, I may need to sell off this asset and put it here so that I can generate additional income, make room for my expenses, or I'm spending too much. I need to cut my food expense. I need to cut the money I spend on my data, or I need to make more money. I need a better job, or I need to add a side hustle, or I need to expand my business so that I can make better income. So knowing your assets, your liabilities, and your income gives you, a and then from there you can look at what you do to also helps you in terms of yesterday I had the opportunity to look at mine. I was doing that with another uh, two financial, and I could see my income from 2021 and how much it has grown by, and I could also see my assets and certain mistakes I have made along the way. So it's very important to look at where you are now so that you are able to know what you can do in the future.
Amazing stuff. So this is just like determining a healthy bank account. The same way we go to the gym to make sure that we are staying healthy, the same way we eat healthy to make sure that we don't fall sick. These are some of the things that Mimi has just shared with us. And make sure you are tracking your income versus your expense, because if really you want to spend more than you're actually earning, in fact, you will not have enough money to do that. And also, it is good to track your finances, see where you were some time ago and where you have gotten to now, so that you also know just exactly how much you are able to spend or how much your money is growing by. Thank you so much for sharing those. Let me just quickly check if William is back. Hi, William.
I'm back.
Hello, William.
Yes, I'm back.
My internet has been doing the most this morning. Sorry.
Yes, it's fine. It's fine. Completely understand. So we'll just move on with the conversation. Mimi has done a good job of holding the fort down. So now we want to talk about creating a budget and making sure that we stick to it. These days, there are so many things we can do to create a budget, but I also believe that the difficulty is actually sticking to those budgets. And it can become a lot, and it can be also very boring, to create a budget. So what are some of the easy, fun ways and how do you stay on track? You need to stay on track. William,
Creating a budget
should be a thing of lifestyle and discipline. Creating a budget is good, but having the discipline to stick with it is where you will determine you are or you are just making a budget for budget's sake. I heard Mimi make a comment that she's able to track her finances from 2021. I have, when I was doing a bit of reading yesterday, I realized that I've had a budget in Excel from 2017. So I could tell how far and how much money I've spent on whatever it is from 2017 to this month, right? And for me, that discipline has helped me live the life that I want to have, right? And so creating, for me, the first thing is that creating the budget is good. Whether you are using a simple Excel, you are writing it in a book, you are using the very old method of an envelope, right? When your money comes in, those who are paid in cash, when the money comes in the envelope, on the back of the envelope, you write transport, rent, health, savings. Just being disciplined to that and consciously monitoring how much comes in, for me, is the first step. So if you don't have that discipline to do the budget, I'll tell people that, look, don't even bother. Right? If you're not going to stay disciplined, don't bother doing the budget. However, there's a fun way I go around with my budget, right? And I'll share it with everybody here. When I get money coming in, when I know how much money I'm getting for the month, right? one thing I do, and people seem to laugh about it, but one thing I always do is whatever money I make in a month, I make sure that at least, no, at most 5% of it, I spend it on myself, right? Because I'll tell you this, there's no greater sense of happiness than making money and spending some on yourself, right? If you do that, you realize that you can go back to your budget and enjoy your budget, right? So if this month I'm making 1,000 CDs, I'll take out 50 CDs and buy something for myself. I enjoy that piece of 50 CDs I took out because I'm telling myself that I worked for the money, and so this money I'm going to spend on myself. The remaining 95% of it, I will budget, rent, bills, clothing, food, emergency fund, investment fund, all of that. You get it? So in being disciplined to your budget, be also conscious of the fact that you also need to be happy that you are doing the budget. And one trick that works for me is spending some of the money on yourself. You know, I know a lot of people on here will say that, oh, the money that is coming, it is dead on arrival. But part of the thing that is killing that money on arrival, you should be part of it. You should be part of it. If it is 5%, if it is 10 CD, 20 CD, if you are buying even a shirt for yourself out of the money you make, you'd realize that you are happy making that budget. Right. So yes, budget is a disciplined life, but also make sure that some part of whatever it is you're making, even if it is 200, however much you're making, spend some on yourself, right? So that your soul is happy. And when your soul is happy, you're more likely to look at your budget and say that, okay, I've spent this much money on myself. Now I can put away my investment money. I can put away my savings money. I can put away the emergency fund. I'll put my rent money away. I'll put away my electricity. I'll put away my water, right? If there is any excess, then good for you, right? But if there are no excesses, you look at your budget and say that, okay, I spent on myself. I am happy. Everything else is taken care of and I can move on. Yeah, that's me. Have I spoken well?
Yeah, I've spoken very well. So you spoke about discipline. I mean, I think everybody knows that, and I'm sure Mimi as a mother can especially attest to that. But I found it very interesting that you said that you should spend on yourself. And I think this is something that a lot of people do not do. Then you find that at the end of the month, they're complaining, sorry, that they weren't able to spend anything on themselves. Mimi, what do you think?
I totally agree with William. I mean, it was the same thing. And I'm more feeling now, like what I have noticed is when you make money, you don't spend it. I don't know whether so while you can be able to meet your needs, you have to spend it doesn't be, over the top within your budget. So it's 200 Ghana and it's a shirt you can buy for the house, or it's a box of pizza, like just work able to apply for. The second thing I would add to what William said is to set goals. So a lot of the time the budget is not exciting because it just feels like you are denying yourself, there's the boring old stuff.
Mimi,
Audio has gone off.
Mimi, you're muted.
Let me see if I can.
Can you unmute Mimi?
Yeah.
We can't hear you. We can't hear
Hi,
you.
Mimi. Hi, Mimi.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Yes. So I was saying that I totally, three totalies agree with William on this. This I'm saying from my own personal experience, because sometimes you make the money, you go to work, you come late, you're putting in the effort, but you don't sort of reward yourself, for all that effort you put in. So definitely there needs to be something that you use to reward yourself. So even if you can just afford 200 CDs a month, on yourself. And for this, I would say that it can be within, how we have the 50, 30, 20 principle. It can be within the 30%, where if you earn 1,300 CDs of that money goes towards areas that you really want. So if it's pizza that you want to buy, go out with your friend or whatever, it's within that 30%. But that is important for your own mental health and to fuel you to do more. Apart from that, I would add the importance of having financial goals. A lot of us just earn money, spend money, save money without any clear direction or focus. Like William mentioned, business is a thing to him. So when his money comes, I'm thinking that part of the income that he gets from wherever goes towards, his business, because that's what is important to you. So if your goal is reflecting in your budget, for example, you want to travel in 2025, you have allocated your money towards your food, the important things, utilities, those things you need to survive. You put money down towards savings, and then the extra money towards your wants. You've decided that you want to go on a vacation in 2025, and it's going to cost you whatever, 5,000 Ghana cedis. And you look at your budget, how can I be able to achieve the 5,000? As you put it in your budget, and every month you are allocating 1,000 Ghana or 500 Ghana cedis, and you see that dream is coming to reality, it makes it exciting. And the more you are able to achieve your goals, like maybe you next year come, we see you in Dubai 2025 or wherever 2025, you get more encouraged that I can do this. So maybe the next goal, my new car 2027, and then you start planning towards that. So having specific things that we are investing and saving towards is very important, rather than saving just for saving's sake. That makes budgeting more exciting. Have a clear focus, adopt a goal-based, a way of budgeting, so that you're saving because you just want to be a miser or something. It's specific. You have a fund. You have a fund for your kids' school fees, etc. If you are able, I remember I suggested to my husband to start saving towards the kids' school fees. So now every time fees up, he's able to pay it. So because of that, budgeting is not a pain for him.
Yeah.
Where in the past he would have waited to the expenses to start for money, to do that also. I think having a goal-based budget,
Okay, I really like that you threw in the bit about family, because a lot of us have families, but we always miss out on actually factoring them into our budget. If you could kindly keep your microphones on mute. Thank you. So basically, from the question we just spoke about, is you need to be disciplined, you need to have goals, and you also need to spend by yourself. Okay, good. So as we keep doing these things, we are taking note of our lifestyle, factoring in our families. We are spending on ourselves, but we're also making sure that we keep financial goals. There are some things we never see coming. Sometimes they are emergencies. Sometimes they are expenses. Forget about. I remember once having a conversation with somebody who runs a business, and she said that she was surprised that had to spend on taking away her rubbish, her bola. they came and they charged her an amount of almost 600 cedis just to carry away her rubbish, and she didn't understand. And these are some expenses we usually forget. Can you tell us how to manage those little expenses we forget? Those things that steal our 100 cedis, 200 cedis, but by the time we realize it's a whole 2,000 cedis that has gone. William, if you can take this one for us.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because this Bola situation, I think on Monday, Zoom Lion sent me a text that I owe them 955 Ghana
Wow.
cedis. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How much
When I
rubbish
saw
do you
that
have?
text, I was like, listen, I don't think I run a recycling plant in my house, but so I can understand, having that unlikely expense come at you and you don't know what to do. First off, I think that when situations like that hit us, we panic.
Yeah,
The first
yeah.
thing I'll tell anybody to do is to don't panic. Emergency situations are emergency situations. Panicking puts you in a state of rush, right? And then you forget that there's an emergency fund or there's some money that you have aside to take care of certain things. One other thing I've also come to realize, especially when I've spoken to people and I ask them, the emergency that came, right, or what we will tag as emergency, was it really an emergency, right? Because let's be honest, there are some situations that come at us, unless it's health related, right, or unless it's a life and death situation, we can stagger it. Okay, so Zoom Lion sent me a bill 955 cedis. It's not a life and death situation, right? So I'm going to take my time and then assess the situation. Is it a bill I have to pay? Right? If I have to pay the bill, we have to come to a certain agreement. I'll spread it over a certain period of time. Right? Now, in understanding how to manage emergency situations, another thing I want us to also understand here is your emergency fund is available, but beware of having to dip into it every time, right? I'm a proponent for having an emergency fund and having a liquid fund. Okay, so a liquid fund is the one that you can easily put your hand into and sort out a quick situation. Okay, so again, let me go back to this refuse issue. Or let's say those of us who own cars or who have some sort of mobile, whether it's a bike, it's a car, however you move around, you might be going around town and have a flat tire, right? Or you might have a burst tire. You don't have to dip into your emergency fund to replace a burst tire, right? You should have a liquid fund, something that you don't have to stress too much to think about to be able to access. Within 2-3 hours, you should be able to take money out of that liquid fund and address that need that has come up, right? We and a lot of us financial people, we talk about an emergency fund a lot, but we don't talk about having a liquid fund, right? And a liquid fund, again, is not a savings account, right? You can have a savings account. You put money in there for transferring here and there. Having a liquid fund is, look at it like this: at the end of the month, you budget 100 cedis for your emergency fund, and that goes into a particular investment instrument, say a mutual fund. You're using to buy T-bills, whatever. That liquid fund you can put into a mutual fund, or you can put into a short-term investment account that allows you access within 24 hours or within a certain period of time, right? What I advise is, at the end of the month, whatever is left in your liquid account, move it into the emergency fund and recreate that liquid account, right? So what you are doing is a 2-for-1 situation. That liquid account is for the month. If any emergencies arise and you need to deal with it quickly, your tire is burst, your prepaid is finished, and you need to help somebody, address a certain quick issue, yeah, there's an outfit that you need to buy because there's an event coming up. Those sort of situations. If you don't have that in a month, praise the Lord, put that money into your emergency fund. what you realize is over time, you are putting more money into your emergency fund than you would ordinarily do. Okay. But within the month as well, you have that liquid fund available to you to take care of emergency circumstances, right? So your tire is best. You need quick money to fix or to buy a new tire. You can go into the liquid account. At the end of the month, if your liquid account started with maybe 200 CDs and you have 100 CDs left, move that 100 into your emergency fund. You see, so over time, you are building a bigger emergency fund while still having just enough money on you to take care of short-term emergencies, things that come up in the month and you need to take care of, right? So that's how I'd advise you look at it. Have an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a life and death situation, right? You need a big chunk of money and you need to go and pull out of that emergency fund. Go there. But if it's a situation where you need to do something quickly, right? Replace a tire, buy something, help somebody with something, or pay for some service, go into your liquid fund and address the situation from the liquid fund. At the end of the month, if there's change left, send it to the emergency.
Okay. I've learned something new. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope everybody's taking notes as I am. So basically, you need two funds in a month. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have your emergency fund and your liquid fund. So as you are doing your savings in your emergency fund, you are setting something small aside for within the month. Maybe Zoom Lion will text you for money for your baller, your tire will best, something. So that is where you can quickly sort out your monthly emergencies. These are your small emergencies. Also, you need to ask yourself, is it really an emergency? Do I really need to spend this money? If not, you know what to do. We don't talk a lot. But there's a very interesting question in the chat box. And I think this will help to make what you've just said practical. Patience is asking, how can we do all this when we are taking 600 CDs a month? So you know what, let's help Patience out, William. Let us divide the 600, let us make it practical. Let us divide the 600 for her. And let's see the best case scenario we can do with this.
Okay, so Patience, if you are listening, I want you to outline, give me your 3 top expenses in the month, right? I want to believe rent is in there, transport is in there, food is in there, right? So aside these 3 items, if you give me your 3 top expenses in the month. Now, look, when I'm sure a lot of us, when we are speaking, sometimes we tend to think, in higher figures. But an emergency fund does not need to be 300 CDs, 400 CDs a month, right? An emergency fund can be 50 CDs a month. Okay, a liquid fund can be 50 CDs a month. At the beginning, when I was speaking, I said that understand your lifestyle and understand your financial situation, right? I am not going to sit here and believe that everybody's earning 1,000 and above. So just like Patience here, 600 CDs is her income for the month. An emergency fund could be 50 CDs. A liquid fund could be 50 CDs because you have rent to pay. She would have to save money for rent. She would have to save money for utilities. She would have to obviously feed, right? And then do some transportation.
Yeah, sorry, not to cut you. So she has dropped her expenses and she says transportation and taking care of one child. Those are her biggest expenses in a month.
Okay, so the transportation, how big is it? Is it more than 50%? Is it less than 50%? Taking care of one child, obviously, those of us who don't have children, we really can't have the sense of it. But I would assume that taking care of one child is in itself, it's a lot of, aside finance, it's a lot of emotional expense as well. So look at it like this. At the base level, I'll say set aside 100 CDs. 50 CDs into an emergency, 50 CDs into a liquid fund, right? If your transportation is 50%, right, that means you're spending 250 on transportation, right? You put aside, another 100 CDs or so for utilities and all of that to probably put aside around 100, right? It's difficult, and I won't sit here and look at it like it's impossible, but sometimes it is difficult to have an expansive enough budget even within the living conditions that we have, right? But as small as it is, okay, the liquid fund and the emergency fund don't need to be big amounts. 50 cedis, 50 cedis at the minimum, right? The transportation will take what it will take. You cannot sit at home and say you are not moving around, right? And taking care of one child, you have to feed as well. You see, so it's going to be difficult to say that don't do the emergency fund, don't do the liquid fund. But after you've taken out all your expenses, you also need to look at how much of it, if any, is left to be able to take care of whatever needs and expenses there are, right? And again, you also have people like Fido who can support you. Okay, so if the 600 CDs is not going to be possible to spread across, right? There's Fido who can help you and support you with what you need within the month, 100 CDs, the 200 CDs, to be able to support you. Because I understand that, yes, even for me as a business person, the cost of living in Ghana has skyrocketed. And there are certain things even I have had to do away with because they were becoming expensive for me.
Yeah.
You see, so I truly appreciate that everybody here is on very different income scales, but I would sincerely advise, right, where possible, still keep the emergency fund and the liquid fund, right? At the end of the day, move the liquid fund into the emergency fund and build it up.
Well, that was a lot. Thank you so much. And I really hope that patience. Hi, Mimi. Good to have you back. Thank you. Yes, we were just addressing a few things. So William had given us a lot of pointers on how to go about our emergency fund and our liquid fund. And we got a question asking how we can do these things with on a salary of 600 CDs a month. So I'm just hoping that with the knowledge that William has just shared, patients can get something helpful out of there and then manage to stretch a CD within the month. We all know that Accra is getting tougher, but tough people last, not the situation. So Mimi, you're back, so we'll continue the conversation with you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I was excited to hear William talk about the liquid fund. I actually call mine a liquidity fund. There was something I started this year. So I was wondering, oh, wow, someone else also has the idea. Basically, beyond my emergency fund, which basically is more for emergency needs, I did notice that there are things that come up, and I just wanted to create a bit of room in the budget for that, because sometimes things come up. But that said, sometimes I think that we make our budget without really going back to look at how we've spent over, like our habits, how we spent over the period. You may realize that for a whole year you've been sending money to your parents. They're always asking you for one thing or the other, but you've not featured it in your budget that, okay, every month I'm sending 500 to my parents. It comes up and then it feels like a stretch because you've not made room in your budget for that. So rather than wait for them to ask, you notice it's become a trend in your budget. So just make a room for whatever it is, maybe 500. It's either you give it to them monthly, but if you realize that they will still come back to you for more, you can divide it into two, give them a part and set a half of it or a part of it away for the emergency things that come up. And as much as possible, we also would need to be very open and truthful with what we can afford, because I know for a lot of young Ghanaians and Africans, family expenses, because our parents may not have planned their retirement and all that, can be a difficulty. Looking at your budget, looking at the trends, maybe you are always spending on something, but you never add it to your budget. It's important for you to look at your budget. That we spoke about fund money. You don't put fund money in your budget, but you are always chewing one kebab or two. Maybe it's time to put in your budget 200 cedis for fun, rather than assume that you are not spending the money when actually you are spending that money. So that's why I wanted to add. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's also something very new that I have learned. I don't have a liquid fund, but I will be having a liquid fund right after this because a lot of things have been stealing my money away. Thank you. So I'm getting a lot of questions on how do we even create a budget. I think that is the most basic thing that we need to take away today. So what is the easiest way to actually create a budget? Mimi, you can. Okay, William.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Let me.
Okay.
Mimi, let me just jump in here then. So creating a budget. Mimi clearly articulated a couple of things that are necessary for your budget, right? First off, there are two lines in creating a budget. I personally, because I'm always sitting behind my computer, so I have an Excel sheet. But for those who don't have access to a computer all the time, have a particular book, buy an exercise book, a notebook somewhere, right? And on a month-on-month basis, how much is my income, right? So how much am I expecting at the end of the month as salary, as handouts, right? So Mimi's comment to the fact that the same way we might be giving money here and then we don't take note. There are some of us who every now and then people will send us Charlie, take this 100, take this 200, and you don't really budget for. That also needs to be accounted for, right? So what I do in that case is I there's another line in my income. Okay, my salary is X amount. Other income that maybe I know that will come in the middle of the month, or some transaction that I will do and I'll get some small change behind. I also have that day. Now on the expense side, you need to account for the things that are needful. Okay. Now the needs to your rent, your transportation, your utilities, that's water, electricity, right? And those who have to pay refuse and service charges, things like that, right? A lot of us also seem to forget that we pay subscriptions, DSTV, Netflix. You are paying one thing or the other, one sort of subscription on your phone like that. You also need to account for it. And more often than not, those ones are dollar. So you are paying $4 here, which is what, 45 cedis now. You are paying Spotify 17 cedis. All of those things you have to remember to put in your budget. And then also the entertainment money. That's what I call mine. The 5% I spoke about in the beginning, right? Spend something on yourself. If it's a box of pizza, if it's a shirt you've been looking for, or if you have some travel plans and you are going to put that money away for your travel plan, do that. At the end of the day, your expense line should ideally equal your income line. Okay. And there are certain situations where, because of some of the lifestyle things that we do, our expenses will be more than our income. There, you have to look at what your expenses are. I personally, right, I have come to the point where I don't have Netflix. Okay, I don't have Netflix because look, I have DSTV. Okay, and because I have an iPhone, I pay Apple subscription, so I have Apple TV. Right, not having Netflix is good for me. I don't pay Spotify because I have Apple Music. So you need to make the trade-offs. If you don't watch DSTV and DSTV is not something that you need, you can allocate that money to pay for your Netflix. But if you are looking at it critically, how much time do you spend on Netflix? How much time do you spend on DSTV? For a lot of the guys here, if you are paying DSTV, you are more than often paying because you have to watch soccer. So there's Premier League, there's Serie A, all of those leagues that we have to watch, right? After Saturday, Sunday, you probably won't turn on the TV, right? So in managing your expenses, what are some of those things that you can easily take out? Okay, you also need to be very mindful of that. You also need to be mindful of what Mimi said. I call it black tax, where the family member will call you, oh, Charlie, 50 CDs, you send it. You need to have a limit on those things, right? The more you give, the more they'll come back for it. I know it's difficult. A lot of us support family. So if you support family consistently on a basis, let that line be there. Family support. 100 Ghana. If they come to
No
you
loan giving.
and you reach your 100 CD maximum line, tell them, sorry, I don't have. I cannot give.
Okay, thank you very much. The explanation that you've given is too much, and we've understood what you want to.
You have taken my particulars, but I didn't receive any loan.
Okay, so
Hello. I said the explanation that you've given is too much, and then we've understood you. I just want to put this across. I took a loan from you, and then fine, I defaulted the day that I was supposed to pay the loan. It took a month. I paid the loan. Now it's been.
Apologies for that. I'll just continue with everyone muted. William, kindly wrap up for us.
No worries. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it, right? So understand your expenses, manage your expenses. If you need to take certain things out, take them out. Manage the amount of money you give out on the side. I call it black tax. You know, every now and then people will ask you for money. Have a limit on that as well. It allows you to conserve yourself a bit more, right? So that's about it.
Thank you. And thank you so much, William. Joshua and a couple of others who have dropped some comments in the chat box. We've seen all the concerns that you have shared, and we'll definitely reach out to you. So no worries, we'll definitely come to that. We have just about 10 minutes remaining. So to wrap up the conversation, I want us to briefly jump into investing as personal people, or yes, as with our personal finances. What are the easiest ways to invest for ourselves to make sure that we're securing the future within our budgets? If Mimi can take this up for us.
That means the question that I asked is not important. So
Hello.
why did you just send me a message to join the conversation in the first place? Because I asked a question, you mute me.
Hi,
You keep on talking about investment. So if you are talking about investment, why did you send me the message at the first place?
Okay. Sorry, Mimi, kindly go ahead.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, kindly drop them in the chat box. They would definitely be addressed. Thank you. Please go ahead, Mimi.
Okay, so investment is definitely something we should all do. I know the market has been quite terrible these past few years. But one thing I say is some of us have started businesses, they didn't go well. We went at it again. And your business is some form of investment. So the fact that it didn't go well doesn't mean that you shouldn't invest. My thing is more of what lessons have you learned from the experience. One thing I learned is that a lot of us don't diversify. We put all our eggs in one basket, you know. So if there's an issue with government, all our money is in trouble. How do we invest but don't put all our eggs in one basket? Because the thing about investment is there's some level of risk, just like business. You do business, you are not too sure. You can be sure that maybe at the time you were doing the business, you were very sure that the business would do well, but then competitors come up, a new product comes up, something comes up, the economy is bad, people don't have enough money, things come up that may negatively affect the business. It's the same for investments. Okay, that said, there are investments available for everyone with as low as 10 Ghana cedis. You can invest. There are various types of investments. I know in Ghana, the most popular one is a T-bill. Everybody knows about the treasury bill. Some people call it treasure bill. everybody knows about that, and that is available. We have treasury bonds as well. Those were when we hear DDP haircut, that's the treasury bonds. Those were long-term securities issued by the government. We have fixed deposits. These are normally issued by banks or not deposit taking financial institutions, so banks, savings and loans, etc. We also have what we call mutual funds. The mutual funds is good for retail investors. It allows retail investors to invest with some of these treasury bills, and you may need a good amount of money. I don't think you can buy treasury bill with 10 cedis, but if you have 10 cedis, you can do a mutual fund. There are different types of mutual funds. We have some for the short term, some that would help you with your short-term needs. We have others that will help you with your long-term needs. It's always important to ask the company that you are investing with what is behind, what are they investing the money with, because that will determine whether the risk or return on the fund. So don't just say, I've given you my money, I didn't tell you to buy this. No, know what the money is being used for. Be comfortable, understand what is being used for. If the people are not willing to explain, then don't invest. We also have stocks or shares. We have I'm sure you've heard of the MTN shares, Guinness Ghana shares, GCB shares. There's a new gold ETFs. All that can be bought on the Ghana Stock Exchange through a broker. There are several brokers. We have IC brokers, we have Black Star brokers, etc. So you can find out the brokers if you want to buy shares. You've been using MTN data and MTN credit, and you want to be a shareholder in MTN, you can buy MTN shares through a broker. So that's also one of the alternatives. You can look at. There are other alternatives, but let me just leave it here so that it's not too much at a time. But investment basically is anything you do with the hope of increasing your income or capital appreciation, like increasing the value of your assets or your assets. So our businesses are also investments. We should treat our businesses as investments. If you are investing in your business, it's not charity, it's business. So make sure that it's worth its while. It's making money for you. These are some of the things I want to mention. Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much. So your business is not charity. I will definitely be noting that down. So just to recap some of the basic investments you spoke about. So our business is one of them, and there are investments for everybody that start from as low as 10 cedis. So we have the T-bills, we have the mutual funds, we have fixed deposits, and always make sure that anytime you approach an organization to help you with their investments, ask them questions so that we not end up with any more number situations and our money is run away with. Talking about investments cannot be squeezed into 10 minutes. This is a very broad topic that I believe a lot of us as Ghanaians need to learn more about. So we'll definitely come back, have a bigger session on investments, because there are so many things we can put our money into. And like Mimi said, as low as 10 cedis, we can start securing a better future for us. Just before we wrap up, William, do you have anything to add to that?
I like the comment you made about your business is not a charity, right?
Yeah,
A lot of us, well, I because I personally run a business, right? And I speak to a lot of business owners. I tell them that, look, whatever expenses you are making from your personal self for the business, charge it to the business. Okay, so create a cost line on your business. When the business makes that income, pay back to yourself. Your business and your human entity are two separate beings, so please treat them as such. All right, and don't mix business funds with your personal funds. You know the basics, right?
yeah.
Aside that, look, I was just responding to a question on the chat. I don't think that our market right now is. Don't be scared. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't be scared about investing. Okay, what you need to do, like Mimi said, is to do the research, ask all the
Don't
questions,
be
be sure you
scared.
are comfortable. Okay, if you are not comfortable with the institution or with the answers they give you, move. Okay, there's not just
Yeah.
one bank in this country. There's not one investment house in this country. Take your time, do the research, understand, and figure out the person who will give you the best for you, and then invest. Okay, so do more research, understand it before you make the move. Don't just make the move because you think you can, or you think because somebody did it, it will work for you. Okay, ask a lot more questions, get the answers, and be comfortable. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. There are still so many questions. So what I'll do is just when the call ends, I'll leave the line open. Everybody can just drop them in the chat box and then we'll address them. And if you have any concerns you would like to address it, Fido, kindly drop your phone number as well so that we can reach out to you. But thank you so much, William. I can see a lot of people asking how they can reach out to you because you've shared with us so much knowledge on today's call. So please, if you want to, you can just share in the chat box either your LinkedIn handle, your Instagram handle, however they can reach you. Amazing. You have shared your email. That's beautiful. So please reach out to William and Mimi. You may kindly share an email or however we can reach you with all the questions that we have. It has been a very packed session. I even feel like we needed more time to break down the things because, like I say, I always say this: Accra is tough. It's getting tougher, but our monies are not growing with the difficult times. But we shall last. So it's been a very amazing session. Thank you so much to William and Mimi. You have shared so much with us, and we definitely look forward to tapping into more of your knowledge on subsequent chats and webinars. So in the absence of any other contributions, thank you to everyone who also joined as well. We've seen your questions. They will be addressed, like I mentioned. Just keep dropping. The lines will be left open. And we will see everyone again at the next edition of our Fido web series. Thank you, everybody, and have a good weekend. Bye.